Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. When you look at the life of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, and you read about the seerah, and you see the way that Islam was spread into every household, right? The love for Islam was spread into every household. When you see in the prophethood, in the first 13 years of prophethood, the verses that were revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were all verses reflecting upon the reality of this life, right? Building tawheed, acknowledging the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and acknowledging His greatness, right? They were verses that were about reflection, about the reality of this life, and how dunya is the lower version of it. Linguistically, what dunya means is that which is lower. And what is to come, insha'Allah azza wa jal, in the next life, in the akhirah, will be what is, insha'Allah, eternal bliss. Insha'Allah, if we make it into Jannah by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But a lot of the verses were allowing people to reflect upon their reality, why they're even here in this world, and why we're even going to work and put in the blood, sweat, and tears to, insha'Allah, achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then, and only then, when the verses came down about the rules and regulations in terms of hijab and alcohol and the rules and regulations of Islam, their hearts were pure. Their hearts were tranquil. Their hearts had the love of Allah and His Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam in them, that it was very easy for them to completely submit. They rushed to do good, right? The ayah of the hijab came down and the women, they rushed to cover themselves for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the ayah of alcohol and the prohibition of alcohol came down, it was very easy for them to stop. As the narration of Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha said that if the verse of alcohol came down very, very early, it would be very, very hard for them to change. Because alcohol was something that was very engrossed in their society, right? It was a norm. In the same way, when we give and we spread this message of Islam, right? When we give da'wah, we do it in the same manner that we build and we acknowledge and we teach the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first, right? We build tawheed in their hearts, right? We acknowledge that when you have love for Allah and you acknowledge the greatness of Allah and you acknowledge your humility before Him, then when the rules and the regulations come, the heart is pure and the heart is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it becomes very easy to submit. The same way, when we preach, when we give the message of Islam to people, right? We build that love in their hearts, and everything else, insha'Allah, by the permission of Allah, will be fine. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.